lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I am Omara, and today I'm going to be showing you how to tie headscarves 5 different ways, none of which should be culturally appropriate from the research I've done and the people I've talked to. The first one that I'm going to show you, well actually before I show you, I wanted to point out a few things. One, there are headscarves, bandanas that are actually tubes that you can easily use to cover your head in 2 different ways. These are probably the easiest way. I get them at Ardene's. I have 3 of them somewhere around here, but you can do it where you do it in the back. So I always cover my ears just because if I don't, they kind of stick out. But that's entirely up to you. You can do it so that you just tuck it in the back. If you have hair, you can push your hair up into here and twist and tuck. If you have hair, you can use bobby pins to keep them in place. Same with all of the headscarves I'm going to show you how to do. I don't have hair, so bobby pins for me is kind of obsolete. Depending on the style, where I place the bobby pin actually helps it stay because I'm bald, but I will explain that on the way. The other way you can do these is if you take this, if you have hair, let me just slouch here. If you have hair, you can twist it into the end, but you take this piece to the front, curl the ends under, and then just tuck it in the front and flare it a bit. This is the other way. They're tubes, they're really simple to wear. Like I said, I get them at a store called Ardene's. I believe some dollar stores also have this style, depending on where you live. I'm in Canada, so it may vary. I don't know if other countries even have Ardene's, but this is the one cheat style, I guess, is wearing tubes. I feel like a tube shirt would work if you buy it in like a small or an extra small as well. If I'm not being, just to experiment. That is the one cheat one I do if I don't have the energy to actually tie. I'm just going to turn this here. I have brought out just a handful of scarves. That plate has bobby pins on it, but I have an entire drawer in my long dresser just full of scarves. Not even winter scarves, just like silky scarves that I wear on my head when my hair falls out. So yeah, I made a list. So the first one I'm going to show you is called a gender neutral turban. Now, technically, these can all be gender neutral. This is just one that I've seen people of all genders wear. I've seen it a lot at the Pride festivals or just when I went out clubbing in the short period of time that I was in university. And when I say all of these can be gender neutral, it's really up to your comfort zone. If you think something looks too feminine or just doesn't fit with your overall style, that's entirely up to you. But this is one that I have seen people of all genders, folks of all genders wear. So we are going to grab just a normal scarf. So, you can use a winter scarf. There's literally just a normal scarf, wear as you want style. I've got it different colors, so it should be easier to see when I wrap. So you're going to just flip it. Try and make sure it's even on both sides. I don't think my camera's gonna zoom out enough. Okay, so you're going to go like this. Tuck that layer behind your ears. Okay. Now, because I don't have any hair, if you have hair, you don't need to do this step, but because I don't have any hair, I tie it at the back, at the base of my neck. If you have hair, it is easier to kind of do what you do with a towel when you're waiting for it to dry, which would be to tuck and twist your hair into it before you part it. But I am just going to separate it and tie it If you don't have hair, you can just crisscross. There we go. So, if you don't have hair, you can just crisscross it around and up. Now, Kelly Osbourne just did a video like this on Instagram a couple weeks ago, showing people who, you know, your roots are showing, whatever, you want us to look fancy. Hers goes on to explain where to put bobby pins and stuff if you have hair. I would highly recommend going over to her Instagram channel if you want more of a how to cover my hairstyle turban. Also very gender neutral. So once you get here, you're going to twist and then take these around to the back. If you have enough on the ends, you can tie it, but otherwise you just have to tuck it into the original loop. I have just enough to tie. Now, if you have a scarf that has fringy, frayed edges, just go along and tuck those in. You don't really want them hanging around. Doop-a-doop. Whoops. Ba-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Okay, I have a fringe here. There we go. Just gonna fluff out the crisscrossed piece. Mine is not centered. A lot of people like it centered. And I'm just gonna flare these out a little bit. Tuck. There you go. You've got yourself a nice little updo turban. And you can do these with any type of scarf. I just like using the longer style just because you need to be able to wrap it. But you gotta make sure that the scarf is wide enough to cover the base of your scalp. Otherwise you'll have like a random bald patch on your crown that'll be showing. Or a random patch of hair on your crown that'll be showing, if that makes sense. So, simple enough. That one's good if you have, you know, don't need any much extra time and anything like that. The next one I would like to show you is simply just called a bodan. That is it. That is all. They are really simple to do. All you need is a square bandana. I'm going to use this square floral bandana. So you fold it into a triangle, but not an even triangle because you need it to cover your entire scalp. This one doesn't work very well if you have lots of hair because it is such a small square. If you have larger square fabrics, I would suggest using like the next size up. You can simply tie a bandana its normal way if you wanted to, just to cover your head. Look a little artsy. But if you want like the full coverage bodan and you have hair, you're going to need a larger sized square. So you fold a triangle. It has to be smaller, one larger. The smaller one sits on the inside. So with this straight line, you're gonna put it at the base of your neck with the small triangle on the inside touching your crown so that the tip hangs over here, which is the main point. Well, you'll figure out whether these are too big or not. We're going to figure out because I've never done it with this one. So you're going to just tie the ends up like this for now. Just one little tie. You're gonna pull that down, make sure it covers your hairline. Pull this down to your hairline. The part that you just tied a little knot in, you gotta line it up with your hairline. If that doesn't give you full coverage near the back, then I would suggest getting a bigger size This one doesn't quite, but for all intents and purposes, I will, yeah, this one doesn't quite do the back of my neck, like it's just behind my ears. So we will grab the next size that I have, which is a lovely gray. Forgot to unknot it. Also, if you do have some hair, whether it's like a pixie cut or a bob to the shoulders, I would suggest just pushing it back before you do this, and maybe bobby pins near the ears to attach this, because this one will slide off your head. If you do have hair, they don't stick very well. So again, I just made a smaller triangle on the inside. We're gonna try this again. This one's obviously bigger. This is a medium size bandana. This one was a small bandana from when I was like 12. Apparently my head's gotten a bit bigger even though I have less hair. Yeah, when I was 12, I think I had a hair almost down mid-back. So line that up so that this sits at the base of my neck. Okay, this is one that I allow my ears to show. Just it's usually what I wear when I'm painting. So again, take your ends, line them up with your hairline. I'll move this for a second. So it's lined up with my hairline. You should have the flap from the triangle sitting, you know, in your face. So you just tie this once, push the flap up in between, because you're going to tie it again. That'll hold the flap up so it's not in your face. Then take the flap and just push it under one of the edges from folding the triangle. You can also fold in the edges of your bodan so that they're not just, you know, standing up like horns. I mean, if you want to go for that, go for it, but depending on your workplace, that might not be entirely appropriate, or the reason you're wearing this. Now, tighten the knot and flare out the ends. I completely forgot what they're called. Now, because having this just in the center doesn't usually work, I usually take the entire thing and rotate it slightly, either to the right or the left. I just did it to the left. And then I tilt these, I twist the knot so that they sit more out of my face and flare them again. Bodans. They're really simple, and you can take these off when they're like this. You can literally just grab at the knot to take them off, and they keep their shape. So you don't have to redo it. Just remember before you put it back on that there is a flap under here that's not attached to anything. So when you go to flip it back on, you have to be, you have to make sure that you have both the knot and the back where the back of your neck piece is. You have to hold on to both. Because if you only hold on to the back, it will take the triangle and unravel it. And then you can go left or right, and then you can just twist that out of your face, whichever way works. Yeah. Ta-da! So that's how a bodan is tied. Essentially, it's just a backwards bandana if you want more simplicity, but I think they're cute, especially if you have funky colored bandanas. So, yeah, that is the bodan. The next one is the one that I originally started wearing when my hair fell out, back in November of 2018. I started getting a patterned rash on my head, which caused my hair to fall out. I currently have that patterned rash, which is why I haven't kept up with shaving my head like Howie Mandel, The Rock, bald, is because of the pattern rash. If I try to shave it, I will take the rash, I will scalp myself, and I'd rather not. So we are letting the annoying, wiry, 5 o'clock man's beard on my scalp to stay until the rash calms down enough for us to get rid of it. So this next style is just called a draped headscarf. There's 2 different ways you can do this. One, I'll show you both ways, but for both of these styles, you need up to 4 bobby pins and or a elastic like that you tie your hair with, or just a tie itself if you don't have elastics. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so for a draped headscarf, you can use the normal type of scarf that's, you know, your rectangular normal scarf, because it would work, or you can use large squares, like large, that would be like the extra large size. Large, this is the one that I usually use. Kind of looks like a tablecloth, I swear it's not. Or medium squares. Please note, a medium square is probably the size of an extra large headband or bandana. But for this, I'm going to use the large that I have for the first style. So, what you want to do, I gotta back up so you can see what I'm doing here. What you want to do is, again, fold them in half. This one can be done evenly. Now, when I say fold them in half, I mean into a triangle, not into a rectangle. So corner to corner, triangle. Now you're going to tie this one, this style, you're just going to drape it over like this. Now, again, the ear thing is your preference, but just make sure that this covers your hairline and grab both ends. Now, I'm going to do this. You can tie it. This is how I tie it. I've seen it done 2 different ways, but if you have hair, leave, I don't have enough. So if you have hair, leave this triangle above your hair and tie this piece underneath, because otherwise it's just going to cause a headache with all the pressure of keeping your hair tied like that. So this one, we're going to go under this triangle and just tie it in a basic knot. I'm going to tie mine tight. If you have hair, just tie it, like if you have hair or no hair, tie it comfortably. Depending on your hair type, you will want to put the bobby pins just right in front of your ears. Like this. So if you have hair, you're going to want to do one kind of facing forward and then make an X. I find the X's were easier when I had hair, but if you have an easier way of doing it, that usually keeps doing the X right in front of the ear, usually keeps them from being pulled off with your hair, especially if you have staticky hair, like if you have a medical condition where your hair is falling out and that's why you're doing these. A lot of time you have staticky hair, or if you have very smooth, fine hair, these tend to just fall off, I've noticed. So a lot of people will put the X in front of their ear on both sides. I don't have hair for that to grab onto, so it doesn't actually do anything for me. But that was the purpose of needing the 4, is 2 on each side. So if you have hair, you can just leave it draped in the back like that, because this big triangle here will catch your hair and keep it all to the back, keep it all neat, and keep it out of your face. If you do not have hair, or your hair is really short, or if you just want another option for this style of doing it, you can just drape it to the left or the right, and just wear it like that, kind of pirate style. Just pirate style it and just have them pinned like that. That is the first style of just a basic draped head wrap. The second one, you need a longer, the second one has to be square. I'm going to use my very large brown square. The reason it has to be square is because this would be like, the first step is getting it kind of like this. And if you don't have the triangle piece for this next step, then it doesn't work. So a rectangular basic scarf won't effectively do this. I'll also show you how you can do this look with a rectangle if you don't have any square scarves. So this is style option number 1 for a draped headscarf. Had family members tell me it's just a hippie scarf. Should probably tell you what type of family I come from. So this one's large, so I got to stand up for a second. Back it on up, my chair here. So again, just triangle. I'm just going to flip it over my head while I am away from the table. So triangle, flip, hello. This one's like a silky scarf, so if you do have hair, you're definitely going to want to pin it. So if you have hair with any type of silky scarf, when you get to this step, that's when you're going to want to pin it. Otherwise, you're going to run into trouble actually trying to tie it, because even with the tiny little fuzzy hairs that I have right now, it doesn't want to stay. So I have nothing to pin it to, unfortunately, so that's not going to work. Okay, so again, if you have hair, you're going to tie this underneath. Yeah, actually, we're just going to keep that as the step. If you have hair or no hair, you're going to tie this underneath the triangle. Also, you could probably just do like the babushka look if you could pull it off. But, okay, I'm going to stop joking around. This video is going to be really long. Okay, so reach under the triangle to tie. There we go. So, again, the ears is your preference. There. So you have your triangle, which is or is not full of hair. For this one, I'm going to drape it over my shoulder to this next step. So this would be the piece that would be full of hair if you have hair. Now, you want to lightly, if you have hair, tie it up above that piece. So if this is full of hair, lightly tie this. If you don't have hair, just tie. So just a basic little knot, because you're going to make a bow. That is what we're going for. It's just a simplistic bow. So hard to do this when I can't see what I'm doing. So you're going to make a bow. It doesn't have to be a large bow. I say as I can't get a small bow. And you're going to flare the actual bow piece out. So flare it out. I was trying to go for small, but you know what? This is probably easier for you to see. Okay, so bow. This one will also hang behind your head. I'm just showing you how to do this, unless you want it to be like here. I mean, it could be cute, depending on the size. We're all different. Now, if your bow is droopy, that's fine. If this is uncomfortable because you have hair, then I wouldn't suggest doing it, but I'm going to go like this. Okay. It's probably off center on mine, actually. I'm gonna turn around and show you what that looks like. Just make sure you're in the camera. So, just a nice bow, I think. And that just hangs. Gives you a little extra flair. Stuff like that. So that is the second style for a draped. The basic drape style, like if don't have the energy or I don't have the strength to try and do fancy, this is the one that I go for. So you essentially, and if you can't tie knots, that's where this ponytail piece will come in handy on this one. I'm just gonna put that on my wrist. So again, make sure this is even. Can't see whether it's even or not, but that's fine. It feels a bit even. This one drapes over one shoulder or the other, so you're gonna wanna tie it closer to that shoulder, which is, unless you can rotate it on your head. So depending on how much hair you have. If you have hair, so these are rectangular, right? It's a larger rectangle, but they're rectangular. If you have hair, you can curl it under the bottom part of your scarf, so it just doesn't hurt when you go to tie. Also, if you can't tie, I found that, like, if you don't have the strength or you just no energy, ponytails, just grab this. I'm gonna put it over one shoulder here. Just use a ponytail, feed it through like you would hair. My head's really whatever, so I can do it. I do mine 2 or 3 times depending on the type of scarf, loop it through. And then you can just tighten to where you want it. There we go. And you can either just leave it like that, or you can, because it has a little extra leeway, you can tie a bow as well. But if you are not in the general mood or whatever, and you just want simplicity, you can do it like that. This one hangs very low just because of the simplistic take on it. So if your scarf is really long like this and you don't want it to hang that low, you can undo this piece. It's 5 styles, just turned into like 8, my bad. You undo that. So you can take this, make sure it's even, crisscross in the back, or better yet, take this, make it shorter on your right. Everybody's going, what the fuck? Sorry, my voice just got really dry. So I can do this here. Hold on. Nope, that didn't work. Okay. Okay. If it's too long, you can either crisscross and wrap it back over to layer it, or you can just realize that this is more simple. You can just fold them in half and then do it and do it this way. Makes it shorter, leaves less to tie, less to, yeah. You can do it that way, makes it much shorter. Just fold it in half and do the ponytail again. Like that. Makes it more of a layered look. It's all that jazz. So that would be the other draped style. If you only have rectangular scarves. I draped mine, it's not entirely even, that's why I've got different shapes, sizes, lengths, which works quite well with this. So, yeah. That one works. I did this one a lot after my hair originally fell out. They still don't know why my hair falls out. I say I have alopecia because I'm sure that's what it is, but with quarantine and the pandemic, all of my referrals are on pause, and it's been 2 years since my hair started falling out. If I try to grow it out, it falls out within 6 months. So I've decided that staying bald is less painful than getting my hopes up at that 6-month point just to lose all of that work. So this is cute. It works for me. So yeah. I have one more style for all of you who own the infinity scarves and not anything like this. I do have a full coverage infinity scarf which covers your entire scalp. By full, I mean the style is full coverage, not the scarf itself. But so I have one of these. It's got many different colors, but it is an infinity scarf. So you just pick a side. I'm gonna go with anchors today. Yeah, so I always wrap these ones behind my ears for the start because this one gets wrapped around your head a lot. So flip that. Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna show you this. So you gotta twist it. Twist it and flip it back up. This one's kind of like the turban, except there's no tying involved. So I'm gonna twist it in the back, flip it over your head, take it to where your hair line is in the front, twist again, and flip it one more time. If you have parts that are kind of floppy, just twist them in. Just keep twisting. And simplistic and cute. And the colors are nice on these. I have yet to find an infinity scarf that didn't have nice colors. This one's also this specific scarf is also a very silky fabric, like the brown scarf that I have. It's very shiny, very silky, not much cotton type feel. So if you have hair for it to attach to, I would recommend doing the bobby pins, but otherwise this one stays pretty good. So yeah, that is how I have been covering my head for the last 2 years in apparently 5 to 8 styles. Yeah. But yeah, the lovely I missed the one style, didn't I? There's one more style that my grandmother showed me because apparently I can't read. My grandmother showed me when I first had my hair started falling out, showed me how to do what she calls a World War II working woman's headscarf, which are really cute. It's easier to do them with the squares, like the bandanas or maybe the next size up. I'm gonna do it with this purple. I was wondering why this was sitting here. My grandma calls it a World War II. It looks similar to when I put this up in the front with the knot, is what it looks like. So I will do that final one and talk about my grandma a bit because it is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the fabulous moms, moms to be, and all of you fabulous mothers and others, child bearers, gift givers, all of you lovely people. So let's see which way I can do it with this one. Can I tie you this way? So depending on the size of your square, you can just leave it open or you can do a triangle. This square is a medium size square. I am going to fold a little triangle in the back just because triangles to me are easier to work with. So tiny triangle leaves a straight line for the base of my scalp, base of my neck, the base. There. So my grandmother, well, technically my grandfather was an airman. I believe he did peacetime in Germany and the UK after World War II. With my grandmother overseas. It wasn't very long. So just like the bodan, we're going to tie this line at the base. Sorry. Hello. We're going to tie these two ends in the center of your hairline, in the center, like center frame at the front of your hairline. Wow, English. Okay. And then you're going to twist those so that they are opposite of how you tied them. So twist like this. Flip that triangle up. And then tie another knot over the flip. Stay. There. Like that. So when you tie it, tighten this triangle piece. Then take these, fold them back, and tuck them into this, tuck them in to here. The fold of when you made the triangle, you just tuck them in. Mine isn't very large. Fold you back, tuck you in, okay. Which leaves it like this. It shows my hairline, which is okay. Now you're going to take the triangle, like this, and you're going to fold it back. See if it shows to you. You are going to fold it back under. Ow. Sorry, I poked myself in the eye. Do not poke yourself in the eye. Okay, you're going to fold it back under as much as you can. Okay. And then you are just going to flare it out a little bit and just wiggle that down so it covers your hairline. If you have hair or lots of hair, bigger squares will cover more of your hair. And then you just poof this up a bit. Poof, poof, fluff. Pinch the fabric away from your head to give it dimension so it's not as flat. You can just tell I'm not a beauty. I'm not a booty guru either. I'm not a beauty guru either. So, yeah, and just flare it up. And there you go. The other option would be to take this, if that doesn't feel right to you, just take this and stick it on one side or the other of the flaps if you want it to be just a knot. And then you can flare the knot itself. Like that. My knot is sticking up a lot more than usual. Yeah, like that. It's also an option for the World War II working woman's headscarf. Like I said, this could also be gender neutral if you're comfortable with it. It's just that when women went to work in factories and whatnot in World War II, most of them kept their hair covered, and this is apparently the style that was worn, or close to it. A lot of them also wore that babushka style. I don't know why it's called babushka style, just how my grandma calls it. So yeah, but this is another one that I do if I have more energy on my hands. So yeah. Ta-da! Yeah. You don't have to have patterned scarves. You can have plain colors, you can have patterns, you can have optical illusion lines if you want. That's entirely up to you and your fashion style or your style. I just happen to have a drawer of assorted scarves. There's probably 60 different colors. No two look the same because scarves. But yeah, that is how I've been covering my head. These also work quite well in the winter if you can't find a toque. So, yes. I hope all of you have a fantastic day, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, all the moms to be, all the moms, all of you lovely life givers and caregivers. Hope you all have a fantastic day.